Shalom, shalom, shalom. We have to retain what we learn in this truth, what we've learned in this truth. By all means, it's very serious. It's very necessary. Right? It's very imperative. It's very critical that we retain everything that we've learned that's true, and it's to our own good. Because without doing that, or not, you you risk the danger of falling for anything, um, and so forth. All right. But before I get into this, call Halam La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Wahara Chakudash, double honors to the whole field like elder apostles, slave to be saved. Lord willing, starting with those elder men at the Great Millstone Church, those elder men at the Great Millstone Church, on down to the rest that may be out here under the same doctrine. Shalom, over to you, Akim here, the Akim here at this faction of this hopefully elect assembly, set up through the grace and power and mercy of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right? In the order according to the scriptures, doing what you need to do. Shalom, on to the rest of the Akim doing likewise. Shalom to the rest of you believers as well, and on his faith. All right? Of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. People ignorantly call God and Jesus Christ, by the way. So yeah, man, it's important for us, imperative, it's critical for us to retain what we learned. The scriptures talk about with all that get understanding. But what's the point of getting these things if you don't retain them? That's why Solomon, the preacher, right, in Ecclesiastes, that's what it's known as, he said all is vanity, because you get all these things, but you don't keep them. So it's all vanity. It's like pointless, and that's true. And that's how we should see, basically that should show us it comes down to keeping. Like, you want to be able to keep. That's why, Yahweh Shai, he says, in what's known as Matthew the 6th chapter, lay not up for yourself riches upon earth where thieves break through and steal, but lay up for yourself treasures in heaven. That's how you want to do it, because no one's basically, you're not going to be able to lose those things. All right. Thus, once again, pushing that is about retaining, keeping. Right. For example, since I say that, let's jump into this real quick. Let's grab this. Let's go to slipped my mind what I was just about to get. Yeah. Call on my Thessalonians in the 5th chapter. Let's go there real quick. Let's just do this. It's Thessalonians. Matter of fact, that's that too. But let's go to Yahweh Shah saying this. Revelation in the 3rd chapter. All right. This is Revelation chapter 2 and verse 3. It's like Revelation 3 and 3. It says, remember therefore how thou hast received and heard, and hold fast. See, remember therefore how thou hast received and heard. Remember all of these things. And it says, he said what? And hold fast and repent, if therefore thou shalt thou not watch And therefore thou shalt not watch, I will come on thee as a thief, and thou shalt know what hour I will come upon thee. So it's all about retaining. We know it's like we know Yahweh Shah's on the way. We learn that, we hear that this man exactly exists. He's of our people, etc., etc., etc. What will be the point of getting that understanding, getting that knowledge if you're not gonna retain that? What will be the point of knowing a thief on the way if you're gonna forget, which you will know? The point of knowing, well, knowing the thief on the way, you're able to win, escape, not lose, not be overtook. So it's important to retain that information as far as when someone lets you know a thief is on the way. Retain it. That's like how it says you got to be mindful that pretty much the devil, he walketh about seeking whom he may devour. Right? What's the point of hearing all these things if you're not gonna retain them, retain the information, hold it fast? He said, hold fast with that which thou hast. Right? I'm gonna grab that too in Revelation. 2:5. 2:25. It says, Yahushua said further, but that which, before he said what I last read, but that which ye have already hold fast till I come. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works until the end, to him will I give power over the nations. So it's all about retaining, keeping. Let's get one more and we go ahead and hop into this. All right. Let's go to First Thessalonians. This is all throughout the scriptures. All right. First Thessalonians. I'll put one too many. Let's go ahead. Let's do it like this. First Thessalonians in the 5th chapter. We're going to jump down. What does it tell us? This is First Thessalonians 5:21. Prove all things, hold fast that which is good. You have to hold these things fast. All right? Retain them. All right? What's the point of hearing all these things if you're not going to retain them? Retain that, it's this roadblock on the same street you go down. What's the point of knowing that once you learn that, which once you realize that and know that, you avoid it. You know what I'm saying? And okay, dang, I don't need to go over that no more. That's the point of knowing that. And then you don't go over it. Once you see, okay, that's a pothole, you don't go over it. And you go down the same street. What will be the point of knowing that, knowing that pothole is there and understanding that for the purpose of you don't want to not messing your car up. What will be the point of that if you pass over it that time, but you continuously know you go down this same street and that pothole is always going to be right there? What will be the point of understanding that, knowing that, the first time, if you're not going to retain that information, that same outlook, what would be the point? It wouldn't be no point. You will be taken by whatever, and it go like that for anything. All right, period. So now, since I say all, let's get into this. This is Proverbs 4:4. He taught me also, and said unto me, let thine heart retain my words. See that? Let my heart retain my words. It's all about retaining. All right? Look at that word, retain. I'll do it later. But anyway, it says, keep my commandments and live. See that? So you learn the commandments, know certain things, you know, that leads to death, and once you see that, understand that, know that, you obviously don't do them things. Them things is given to you so you don't, be led to death, so you don't die. That information is imparted to you. So is it just so you don't die in that moment, or is it for you to retain and go on with that information to continuously not succumb to death in these matters? Now that you know these very things, when it comes to these matters, now that you know these very things, or once you've learned these very things, lead to death. You know what I'm saying? But it says, get wisdom, get understanding, forget it not. So yeah, get wisdom, get understanding, right? Forget it not. That's the key thing. You don't want to forget, like I have here on the image, next on the left, you see all these things that you learn throughout your life. Things you are to, keep. You learn firmness, conscientiousness, to be conscientious, cautionness, certain friendships. It say, what's friendship? Perception. It says order, right? Individuality, benevolence. These things, these certain things you learn, this person can't forget. You're not to forget. It's the point of learning order for you to forget it. You learn a language to forget how to talk. You learn how to speak English, and make sentences, and then you just don't remember it. You just imagine that if you didn't retain anything, how much you couldn't get done, how much you would succumb to. It's very important that we retain that, hold fast that which is good. And even more critical that we retain all this knowledge that we have came up on, man. Because we coming into the times where the devil, he walking about to see who's not holding on to this light, man. Who's not taking heed to it, who ultimately is not retaining it. Because he's going to be able to get you at that point. You learn, okay, there's nothing but crooks out here, etc., etc., etc. Right? People one up you, will try to get over you, and you learn that and understand that so that you don't get got by that. You learn that, but if you retain that, you won't, ever succumb to that. But that's the main thing that comes down to. Because if you don't retain it, you're gonna get got. You're gonna forget that. You're gonna fall for anything. You're gonna fall for anything. But it says, forsake her not. So get wisdom, get understanding, but forget it not. That's the main point. Forget it not. Neither decline from the words of my mouth. Forsake her not, and she shall preserve thee. Love her, and she shall keep thee. So forsaking will be forgetting it. Forsaking these instructions, these things that lead to life, these things that lead to death. Hearing those things and understanding those things, right? And keep retaining those things, and taking heed to those things lead you to, the proper result. Not succumbing to the thing that leads to death. Obtaining the thing or being into the thing and on the thing that leads to life. Right? You got to remember these things, right? Because once again, once you get those things and understand them, you have to what? Not forsake her. You have to not forsake it. Forsake it, meaning not retain. You have to not retain. You have don't forget it. So forsake her not, and she shall preserve thee. See that? Love her, and she shall keep thee. So I got one more, because the message is fairly simple. You gotta understand all these things gonna be going on. You learn the prophecies. What's the point of learning? The prophecies. The permanent marker. Every how people gonna be. The point of knowing, okay, it's wicked amongst our people. Imagine if you forgot these things. You would just be amongst these niggas, you know? And you would be taken. So this is Romans 1, and it's all about retaining. Romans 1 and verse, jump to the point. Yeah. 28, it says, even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over, the Father gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient. You have to keep these things in your mind. What? This truth. What the Heavenly Father doesn't stand for. The fact that the devil is walking about as a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour. You know? Understanding that what? It's going to be a lot of seducing spirits out here. So we have to understand and take heed, man. We have to understand that, take heed to that, but most importantly, retain that knowledge, that information. This is 1 Timothy 4 and 1. Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits. Understanding that's what's going to go on. Retain. You hear this, now you have to retain it. So when you see it, you don't bug out. You know what it is, right? And you don't succumb to it. You know, it's weird stuff, activity, you know, energy, auras, whatever coming over people. You have to understand the seducing spirits. Things trying to send you back and forth in your mind. What you got to remember, you know, now if you didn't notice, or if you knew it and you didn't take heed to it, and now you got another chance to take this serious, that you have to understand we're in the last days, and those seducing spirits that's out here. So that are out here. That's what's going on. It says, and doctrines of devils. That's what's going to be going on. One's going to lead the truth, because you're going to have different spirits to seduce. Different ways people could be seduced to think this, so they can end up in this situation out of the truth. You know? Due to them succumbing to something that was a lie. You know? You have to understand that, man. It's going to be a bunch of lies. The Lord said He's going to send them strong delusions that they should believe a lie. So that's what a lot of that's going to be on display, and it is on display in these last days, right? So that's basically the point, man. It's all about hearing all this stuff and you know, retaining it. I'll close here because this is a good one. This is 2 Thessalonians, right? 2 out of 1 Ratazah and 1. It says, let's see where I'm at. Yeah, okay, 2 and 11. It says, I started verse 9, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And what was the love of the truth? The fact that, what was the love of the truth? That was shown, giving you the wisdom, giving you, you know, and telling you to get the understanding, but also to retain it. They didn't receive that whole package. If you get the wisdom, you get the instruction, you understand it, but you don't retain it, you didn't receive the love of the truth. Because receive is to take in, you know, all, right? But it says not half, not some, or whatever. It says that they might be saved, and for this cause Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua shall send them a strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but have pleasure in unrighteousness. Exactly. You heard the truth, you heard this, and you just played with it like it was a game. You didn't retain this knowledge that you learned, man. It's high level stuff that all the stuff you learned in this truth, the breakdowns, how things work, the order between a man and a woman, what the prophets look like, the fact of this, the fact of that. You know, the day is short. You know, who's who. You know, you forget so-called Chinese people, the Moabites. There's all type of stuff you can say. I'm sure I'm gonna have a lot of thoughts, you know, as soon as I'm done. But you know, it just keep going. So you see, you know, what's the point of hearing all this if you're not gonna retain it? That Moabite that you didn't, which is a so-called Chinese person, or that so-called, you know, it could but you didn't retain that information. You learned it, but you didn't retain it. So that person, those people who are Moabites, can tell you they're anybody. That's like if you didn't retain the fact that so-called white man Esau, he the devil. He could be anybody to you, you know, or the fact you a Hebrew Israelite, you know. Period. It's all about getting wisdom, getting understanding, but retaining, you know. Period. Everything you develop, hold on to these things, man. We have to. It's imperative. It's critical. But that's it. Call on Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Wahara, Kakodash, Lord willing, everything has been said, you know, and it's edifying, man. Shalom.